Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, it's time to spit some dope rhymes. Poet's Brunch is a 9% Imperial Stout from New Holland Brewing in Holland, Michigan. I think this is the first time I'm reviewing a stout from New Holland that doesn't have something to do with dragon's milk or have dragon's milk in the title. This Imperial Stout uses New Holland's regular Poet Stout as the base, and it's flavored with maple syrup, cinnamon, and natural vanilla flavors, which I'm going to guess means vanilla bean, but I think we're going to have to pour this into a can to find out. So let's do just that. But first, let's take a look at the label. Fun fact, this beer is the first in New Holland's Brewer's Best series, and it's the first release that they've ever done in 16-ounce cans. Let's take a look at the label here. It's a really different label. It's very similar to some of the other stuff that New Holland's been doing. The thing that really comes to mind for me is their Light Point, their new lower ABV IPA. But this one, it's white, orange, tan, and like purple. So those are kind of the color, and gray, of course. So it's like 5 or 6 different colors, and there's not a whole lot of variation, but it's really striking, and they really set themselves apart when you see them on the shelf. So we'll start from the top. It has New Holland's logo here on the right. It says Poet's Brunch Stout, Imperial Stout with maple syrup, cinnamon, and natural flavor. And that natural flavor is the vanilla that I mentioned just before. And there's a little seal here on the bottom. It says Brewer's Best Series. Then it says Poet's Brunch Stout again over on the right. Across the bottom, it says 1 pint, 16 fluid ounces, 9% alcohol by volume. And then when we turn it over a little bit to this orange section where they write, the description here, it says number 1, Brewer's Best Series, which indicates obviously number 1 in that series. So it says brunch, where two worlds collide, early enough for breakfast, yet late enough for a brew. Inspired by our classic oatmeal stout, this beer is drizzled with real maple syrup and topped with vanilla and cinnamon. It's time to get some friends together and meet up for a brewer's bunch. And then it actually describes the Brewer's Best Series, which is really cool because that means I can just read it here. I don't have to research it. It says, limited release, premium and unique. Our brewers explore and experiment with distinct flavors and premium ingredients so that each sip tells a story of creativity and craft that's meant to be shared. From our hearts to your fridge, this is Brewer's Best. And then it has their website, newhollandbrew.com, and then their information, brewed and canned by New Holland Brewing Company, LLC in Holland, Michigan. The date on the bottom of this, the canned-on date, is January 30th, 2020 at 3:53 in the PM. This is actually early March. This is March 7th, and I'm recording this. I picked this up at 8 Degrees Plato in Detroit, maybe about 2 weeks after it hit shelves. So I'd say, and that was about a week ago. I'd say it's been about 3 weeks. It's probably been on shelves. And I'm going to use my Witch's Hat Night Fury Tracks glass here because it's what I got available. So let's go ahead and crack this. Going to put a nose on the can. Ooh, nice crack. Ooh, a little bit of a splash there. Go ahead and get a nose. Okay, I do get a little bit of a maple syrup smell. I do get a hint of cinnamon. Smells like French toast, to be perfectly honest. Getting a real strong French toast vibe, but I'll get a better smell out of the glass. Let's go ahead and pour this. It's a little bit lighter coming out of the can than I was expecting. I expected it maybe to be a little bit darker, but I guess with all the maple and all that extra good stuff in there, it may have lightened up the color. I'm going to say that New Holland lately with the Dragon's Milk releases, the reserve releases, it's been a little thinner than I'd like, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a little bit thicker than those releases have been. But as you can see here, I got about a finger and a half worth of head, a little bit lighter than coffee colored. It's a little bit lighter than a dark stout head generally is. It's a little bit almost borderline tan, between, more on the tan side than the coffee colored side or the brown colored side. It's actually very light now that I'm looking at it. The head's dissipated a little bit, maybe down to a finger at this point. Let's go ahead and hold it up. Very dark. This is really not transparent at all. Very opaque. Let's go ahead and put a better nose on the glass here. Yeah, getting a lot more of those French toast vibes, getting a lot more of that maple syrup, a little hint of that cinnamon again, and getting a nice vanilla kind of aroma coming out of the glass. It smells very good. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to trying this. So cheers. Wow. That is a lot of cinnamon. So I'm getting a lot of cinnamon on the upfront, on the tail end, on the swallow. I'm getting more of that maple syrup kind of flavor that comes through. It's not overpoweringly maple syrup, but it's in there. It's a really nice, subtle maple syrup flavor. I'm looking to see if I have my thermometer around, and I don't, because I'm really curious to see what temperature I have this at. Aha, got it. I can get it out of here. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so 50 to 55 is generally what you're looking for. Serving temperature on one of these kind of stouts. It's fading really quickly, so I'm at about 50, really close to 50, just dipped under 50. I'm at 49.5 degrees, so it's a little bit cooler than you generally would like to see in a stout like this. I maybe should have let this sit out a little bit longer, but let's walk through the flavors before I get way ahead of myself. Mouthfeel, I'm not going to, so I said when I poured it, it looked kind of thin. The mouthfeel, I'm going to say, isn't really, it's not very medium. It's not really a medium mouthfeel. It's lighter than that. It doesn't feel thin, but the mouthfeel feels light. So it's not a medium mouthfeel. It's not a light mouthfeel, but it's a light mouthfeel, but it's not thin, if that makes sense. But the flavor that I'm getting really upfront, maybe it's just kind of the first thing that hits my tongue, is really overwhelmingly cinnamon. A lot of cinnamon in this. I don't get a whole lot of vanilla. Maybe actually what I'm getting is a lot of cinnamon at the beginning, this maple syrup kind of essence. So it's like you get the idea of maple syrup, and then the vanilla is kind of what kind of calms down that cinnamon. But yeah, big cinnamon flavor at the very start. That first taste that I got was just so, it was almost, there was so much cinnamon, it was almost like a heat. Almost like when you drink a spicy stout, sometimes you get that heat on the finish. It's almost like that heat. There was so much cinnamon, it was that heat was just up front, up center. But in subsequent drinks, the cinnamon's still really in there, but I'm not getting that kind of heat quality that I was getting on that first drink. And then at the peak of the flavor, at the peak of the swallow, that's where that maple syrup came through on the first taste. The maple syrup has that flavor has kind of died down, and I'm getting a little bit more of the vanilla on the finish, on the tail end. The more I kind of sit with this, the more that the cinnamon is just overpowering everything, and I'm not getting a lot of the maple syrup. I'm not getting a lot of the vanilla. I'm almost just getting that kind of, you eat like a Red Hot, or you eat, well, I was going to say hot tamale, but like a Red Hot even more so, because hot tamales are like, they're kind of jelly, they're kind of like Mike and Ike, but but Red Hots are more, and I mean the candy, not like Hot Damn, but like Red Hots, they're crunchy, and they're really overpoweringly cinnamon, have a lot of heat to them. The heat has died down in this, but I'm getting this really strong cinnamon quality in this, and not getting much of the maple syrup, not getting much of the vanilla. The flavor that kind of subsides where I was getting at with the Red Hot analogy is that, or analog, is that the Red Hot, as it kind of cools off in your mouth, you still have that cinnamon flavor in there, but it just kind of cools down. The aftertaste is like a sweet kind of taste, but it still tastes like cinnamon. And that's what this is really reminding me of, that the aftertaste calms down. It's not so angry cinnamon, but it's not sweet. It doesn't sweeten up. It sweetens up a little bit, but it's still cinnamon. Yeah, I just feel like if I could have captured and grasped that first flavor, and that first taste is what continually came through, then I probably would have liked this a lot more. But because I like cinnamon, I'm not a non-cinnamon person. I'm not a big spicy stout guy, but I do like cinnamon quite a bit. And I mean, I'm not going to do a cinnamon challenge or anything, but this beer is really, it's just overwhelmingly cinnamon. You get so much of that French toast aroma coming out of the can, that I was really just hoping that, and that first taste had that maple syrup. I was just hoping that, as this got maybe I let it sit, and you take more drinks, and the beer kind of changes, and obviously it warms up over time. But I feel like trying this subsequent taste, I'm losing the thing that I really liked the most about it, which was that little maple syrup kind of hint on the peak of the swallow, on the peak of the taste. But now I'm not getting that. Let's take one more really quick drag on this. A little bit more sweetness on the quick drag, but it is still, maybe that's a little bit more vanilla comes through, but on that slow drink, it's just really hardcore cinnamon. So yeah, I wish that this, like I said, I wish that the first taste that came through on this that had that maple syrup and had that little bit of vanilla and that really had that wow factor. I just wish we could have held on to that a little bit more, but now I feel like it's just really overwhelmingly, really overpowering cinnamon taste. Again, I'm a big cinnamon fan, but I feel like I'm not getting all the flavors that are on this can, and it would have really blew my mind if it could have been that really strong French toast flavor. But as it stands, I'm really just getting cinnamon, and that all that cinnamon just for me personally is a little bit off-putting. All right, friends, that has been New Holland's limited release Poet's Brunch Stout. You can find it on store shelves right now. Have you had a chance to try this? And what other variations would you like to see on New Holland's Poet Oatmeal Stout? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell because I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are. And most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.